So spoiler warning, just first and foremost, spoiler warning. Yeah, it seems like stuff is really starting to come out right now, so this video is going to have a lot of information on it that is potentially the real deal here, people. So yeah, spoiler warning first off, I just want to get that out of the way. So I guess I just want to start this by saying this video is probably going to be a little disjointed. It's just going to be like a discussion video. It's just going to be me talking about all the stuff that's happened. Basically because so much stuff has happened, I can't like cut it up into different videos for each of these different things, and it's just, I don't know, it's going to be crazy for me to have to try to like filter everything that's happened. So much has happened. Obviously, if you're following Smash Speculation, you know kind of what's going on and how crazy everything is right now. So I've posted a lot of things like on a lot of places. A lot of people have messaged me and I've gotten back to them and just tried to keep up with everything. So a lot of this video will probably be me reading those posts. I might just put an image on the screen and just read a post or something. I have my computer right here. I shifted the camera a little bit, so that's just because I want my computer in front of me. And this is just going to be me, again, just discussing what's going on. And I'm just going to be looking at stuff on my computer and going to the next thing and next thing, because there's so much to talk about. And then I'll just edit it all up. So if this video is really disjointed and kind of messy, I'm sorry, that's why. But there is just so much to talk about, and there's no way I can keep up with everything and also plan out the videos like flawlessly or something. It's just not going to happen. So new info might come out while I'm filming this. I don't know. It's just stuff has been coming out constantly. It's either stuff, for the leak or some new theory about it or this or that. So yeah, I may be like, by the time I put this video out, it may be a little like outdated or something. Something new might be what everybody's talking about. I don't know. I'm pretty tired. I haven't gotten a ton of sleep. It's just been really exciting. It's been really hard keeping up with everything. So yeah, if I'm, I don't know, stuttering more than usual, umming and ahhing more than usual. Like I said, I'm going to just film this video like a discussion, so if there's moments where I'm like, I lose my spot and I go on my computer to just look at something, I'll try to edit this together nicely, but yeah, just, disclaimer at the beginning here, this is just going to be a disjointed video, but there's, I'm sure, going to be a lot of information and good stuff in here. So just to reiterate, the leak from the source that I heard, I'm just going to read something that I wrote here because I just want it to be clean and I want to get it out of the way quickly. I'm sure I'll go back and talk way more in depth about it throughout this video, but just here's a really clean version of exactly what my leak is, because I want, I don't know if it's my leak, whatever, just because I want people to be clear about it. So a credible source came to me with information from a Microsoft source of theirs. I can't say who the credible source is, but I trust, just because of who they are, that they are credible. There's a bit more than that, but that's the main thing. The Microsoft source had heard all the banner characters plus Incineroar before the banner leak ever happened, so they were sure about Banjo because they're a Microsoft source. They were sure about Banjo, but they didn't know about the rest of the. They didn't know for sure about the rest of the characters. They didn't have proof of them. But now that the banner leak's out, they think that it's true. When the banner leak came out, they considered it proof from what they had heard of those characters, but they were confused why Incineroar wasn't there. Now, other insiders have seemed to agree that they also heard Incineroar and possibly another character or characters. I don't know what other insiders know, but they seem to be like perplexed about this leak. They seem to be like, they think they, have something against it, or it's different than what they heard from their sources, but they really don't. Nobody's really come out and been like, well, that character's definitely not in, or something like that. I have no idea what's actually happening behind the scenes, but I do not think the banner is some typical faked leak. So any attempts to make it like, oh, this is just some guy who set this up, I really don't think that's it here. I think something strange is going on behind the scenes. It's possible characters like Incineroar were bait characters to trap leakers, and people have heard Incineroar from credible sources of theirs, so they're so sure of it, now they're really confused why he's not there. He may have always been a bait character. It's also possible some of these insiders actually saw evidence of Incineroar. I don't know. I have no idea. Or further characters. I really don't know. But my source knew about the banner characters, knew for sure about Banjo, and now considers the banner proof, but they're confused about Incineroar. So we're trying to figure this out. It seems like the other insiders are also confused and trying to figure it out. I feel like Worst case scenario, this is some sort of like Gamatsu leak situation where this is indeed real information. This banner leak is something real, but there may be something off about it slightly. I say this because my source's Microsoft source also knew about Incineroar and he's not on the banner. So, or had heard about Incineroar. I stressed that he just heard it because he didn't have proof of anyone, except apparently he had proof of Banjo. I have not seen proof of Banjo. I don't know if my source has seen proof of Banjo. Their Microsoft source apparently had proof, and they trust that source. I trust my source. So there's a chain of people happening here. And I want to be clear about that. So, you know, I'm thinking this banner is real based on all of that. But, you know, it is just, this is what I've heard. I do believe my source is credible, and I'll go over that in a second too. But I also want to say that, you know, the reason I made this channel wasn't to make a big YouTube channel. I made this channel to put out a video on Mach Rider and why I thought Mach Rider was likely in Smash, because I thought there was a good theory and I wanted to explain it in video form. Now this leak has Mach Rider on it, so that's, you know, just kind of cool. But honestly, this channel was always all about trying to figure out who we're going to get in Smash. That's what I want to know. That's why I made the channel. That's what I'm concerned about. So I'm here for the Smash community, first and foremost. I am not here to you know, I don't know, protect some, you know, inside source thing. Like, I don't know what these other insiders have. You know, I'm giving you as much information as I can without revealing, you know, my source or breaking a trust between me and that source. So yeah, that's where I'm at with this. I'm here for the Smash community. I'm here to try to figure out what's going on here. I'm not here to, you know, be so concretely firm on this and push it because I want my thing to be true or something like that. That's not it at all. I have heard this information. I wanted to get this information out there because it's pointing towards the banner being credible, and I wanted to give as much information to people out there so we can try to figure this out. That's what I'm here for. So I'm just going to give out some quotes between me and my source. I just think people probably want to hear this. I've posted these some places, but, you know, I'm just going to put them in this video. So the first quote is basically them talking about what they thought before the banner came out. They had their Microsoft source, so this is where they were at before, you know, the banner leak came out and all this. So beginning quote, "I was firmly in the Ken, Incineroar, Isabelle camp for the entire time and mostly discredited everything else. The Square Enix rep was 50-50 and I figured Banjo was DLC." End quote. So I'm assuming, you know, well, I know that their Microsoft source had told them Banjo because they were sure of Banjo. Their Microsoft source had heard of these other characters from the banner but wasn't sure about them. So my source, believing their Microsoft source, thought, well, Banjo must be in, but if, you know, maybe Box Theory is true or Vergeben's totally correct or something like that, you know, they were thinking, well, if Banjo's definitely in, I believe, you know, they believe their Microsoft source, that, you know, Banjo would have to be like DLC or something. So here's another quote. So after the banner came out, quote, "The Microsoft source had heard of all of the characters in this leak, but haven't had any solid proof and weren't sure to believe it until now. The only one they were sure on was Banjo. Now they are sure on all." End quote. So that's what my source told me, that their source knew about all the banner characters, or heard about all the banner characters, but didn't have proof. They only had proof of Banjo. Now they have proof of all the banner characters. On the note of them being a Microsoft source, Minecraft didn't come up in the conversation. I have since sent my source a message asking about, you know, what the Microsoft source said about Minecraft, if anything. So I'm waiting to hear back on that. One other quote here. The Microsoft source had, quote begins, "also heard Incineroar, so they are trying to figure out what happened to Incineroar or if he was just leak bait or what." End quote. So that's really where we're at with this. We're trying to figure out what's going on. Why does the banner have these characters that, yes, an insider knew about, this Microsoft source had heard about, but it doesn't have one of the characters that they had also heard about, Incineroar. And then there's other insiders, a bunch of them apparently, who had also heard, you know, varying degrees of these characters and apparently Incineroar and maybe more. I don't know what's going on. We're trying to figure it out. So now to just talk about some of those other insiders for a little bit, other people who, you know, have apparently heard things. So I talked about Spawn Wave in my first video about this source coming to me, telling me about this information. And Spawnwave was supposedly making a video. He put a bunch of tweets out that said, like, it's fake, or you can discredit, or something like that, and a video was coming. So I talked about that in my last video, that seemed to be, that was the one that we were watching to see, like, oh man, does he know something? And he put out that video, and honestly, he just sort of hinted that maybe he had heard Incineroar, and that was it. I was expecting more. Maybe he's heard more and decided not to talk about it. I don't know. But yeah, that video did not sway me. But now, because it wasn't such a strong counter-argument, I haven't heard any strong counter-argument from other insiders, just stuff like, that they think they have a reason that, not to believe it. But that, again, might just be because they've heard some other characters, which might be leak bait from Nintendo. Nintendo might have put out a bunch of phony characters. Another option is the characters they've heard are DLC characters. I've also considered the fact that Sakurai may know all the characters he plans for DLC right off the bat. In fact, he said he was going to announce all the characters, before the game comes out. It's possible he meant all the characters and DLC. This is just speculation. This is just my speculation. Again, this is just a rambling, talking discussion video. So it's possible he was going to release all the DLC characters. So a bunch of insiders heard a bunch of characters, and they didn't know which ones were base roster, which ones weren't, or if they knew all the characters. So now that the banner's out, and that might be the base roster, it conflicts with characters they've heard. And they were thinking the character wasn't DLC because they hadn't heard who was base, who wasn't, or whatever. So that kind of makes sense to me, but again, it's just a speculative theory that I came up with just thinking about all this. So Vergeben said a little bit more. He kind of came out against the theory. At least he said, it conflicts with what he's heard. But that might, again, just be Incineroar, because he told us Incineroar. So if it conflicts with hearing Incineroar, I don't know if he's seen actual proof of Incineroar. I haven't heard a single one of these insiders come out and say, okay, guys, it's definitely false, because I'll just come clean and say, I've actually seen Incineroar in the game. I haven't heard that at all. I haven't seen Banjo. I haven't seen anything beyond the banner, but I trust my source, and my source's source says they've seen Banjo. So I'm giving you everything I know, everything I've seen. If one of these other insiders wants to come out and give us a little bit more that could actually discredit this banner, there you go. But I really don't know for sure. I don't know what's going on with the other insiders. I'm just trying to speculate based on what I've heard. Liam Robertson posted, I have seen some evidence privately that contradicts the image, so I'm pretty firm in my belief that this is not real. I will gladly accept the L if I'm wrong. The fact he adds that last part means I don't think it's anything super concrete. It might, again, be he heard of a character, or he saw a character. But again, characters could be DLC. They could have been leak bait. I don't know. I don't know if Nintendo would go to the length to actually make like an image of a character or something. It's also possible somehow that the banner is a leak bait, but I don't know. Everything surrounding the banner, and I'll go over that in a little bit, all the way the banner came to be and why it's so credible. I just don't think that it's a leak bait. I'm just saying that Nintendo may have made images of characters to throw people off, but I'm thinking more likely they just told people characters, so it got, spread around. Because as far as I know, I don't know anyone who's definitely seen Incineroar. I haven't had anybody say that. I've just heard a lot of people have heard Incineroar. Mystic Distance, who has, I think, Kingdom Hearts and Persona ties. He has sources, I guess. People have said that. He said probably the most interesting things about it. So I'm going to read a couple really interesting posts from him, and we can talk about it in a second here. So the first one says, Woo lad, eyes on this tweet more than ever before. I don't feel comfortable personally confirming or denying possible directs, character reveals, or anything of that nature, but I will drop one bombshell. There is a newcomer that was not included in the image. Again, could be Incineroar. Everybody seemed to have heard Incineroar. Then he goes on to say, there's one more character, but they weren't in the image. I'm a little shocked, but it makes sense as to why they were excluded. I think when the time comes to reveal the remainder of the roster, it'll be a lot more understandable. So again, he has Kingdom Hearts sources. I was guessing in my last video that maybe a character people have heard is Sora, but maybe Sora is not on the banner. Maybe Sora is being held for like the Video Game Awards the day before the game comes out, or maybe he's the first DLC character or something. So I don't know. I'm just speculating that, he's talking about Sora based on, who he is and stuff. But apparently he's heard some other character. Again, it could even be Incineroar. I don't know. But Incineroar, I feel like if that came out, it wouldn't make sense. He's saying it would, kind of make sense afterwards. So some other things he said, on the Smash leak, spoke to various insiders who actually reached out to me due to conflicting info on all of our sides. I can't really say for certain whether the leak is real or not. Smash leaks, I have learned, are uncharted territory. It's not as straightforward. He then said, here are a few things I will confirm. Here are a few things I will confirm. A majority of my sources have confirmed what I have in the past. Some characters are actually in, but the poster seems off and isn't what we have seen. Incineroar is in. There will be a unique character trailer revealing 2 characters. I don't know if that means 2 unique characters or just 2 characters like Simon and Richter. And then he goes on to say, I don't want to mention who the real newcomers are as it will clearly give away exactly who told me what. Therefore, I'm mentioning what a majority of people have told me in order to keep their identities secret. So that's probably the most I've heard someone who, claims to have insider information talk about this, but I still feel like the banner could be real with all that, there might just be either DLC characters we don't know about, or something like that, other insiders have heard about, and that's why they're, like, unsure about the banner, but I don't see anything conclusive from any insider, directly against this. So that's why I'm thinking real. My source, who I trust, has a source who apparently heard all these characters and Incineroar, and, also all the insiders who are coming out against this one haven't put anything forward that's really making me go, oh, okay, well, that kills it. So that's where I'm at with it. That's why I'm thinking it's real, or, again, at worst, it's like a Gametsu situation. It is not your typical leak. I am far past thinking this is, someone faked this, because the whole story behind it is pretty crazy. So I'll talk about the whole story behind it next here. So it was a little confusing exactly what was happening when this leak first came out. So my original video on the banner leak, or the Grinch leak, whatever you want to call it, it was a little, I don't want to say off, but I didn't totally grasp everything. So what happened recently was this company, Adelaire's Marina, I think that's how you say it, came out and they just, they denied that the guy who supposedly, the guy people are saying leaked this, doesn't work for them, and that they're not working on Smash. Well, I just want to I'm going to explain all that right here. Okay. So the guy whose name was in the leaked image, Eric Brickard, might not be who leaked it. His name was just on, I believe, a receipt that was in the image that someone tried to kind of Photoshop out, but people could see edges of the letters and figured out who it was and tracked down this company here. So there were always 2 company involved. This is what got a lot of people confused. I'm going to read something. So there's always 2 companies involved with this leak. One company was Adelaire's Marina. We know from finding Eric Brickard's LinkedIn account that he was once associated with them. Adelaire's Marina is now coming out and saying that Eric Brickard hasn't worked there for 2 years, since 2016. And although they have worked for Namco in the past, they are not working on Smash Ultimate. They do publicly list on their website Namco as one of the things they've worked with before, as like a reference. Brickard was found to work for this company through his name being badly half-edited out of the leak, and then people searching that name, finding his LinkedIn profile, which then led to Adelaire's Marina, the company now denying they're involved with Smash Ultimate. Eric Brickard also, shortly after that, made his LinkedIn account private, so no one could find it or look for it. However, that's just Adelaire's Marina denying involvement in Smash Ultimate. That's only one of the 2 companies involved here. Adelaire's Marina was only where we learned this guy had some Namco ties. It was the only reason we were saying, oh man, this guy is a graphic designer who has potentially worked in gaming before, because 2 years ago he worked for a company that had ties to Namco. Eric now seems to work for a new company, and this was also in his LinkedIn profile. This is where things got confused. The new company is called ACP-PLV. So Eric had a LinkedIn account that also says he's been working there for 2 years, which is, probably where he went right after he left Adelaire's Marina. ACP-PLV is a different company than Adelaire's Marina, from what I can tell, and this seems to be where the leak is actually coming from. This company has not denied involvement in Smash Ultimate or said anything against it. Eric Brickard has come out and said that, you know, he's denied it, but obviously he's going to deny it. Like, you would definitely deny that you're a leaker. But also, I don't think he's necessarily the leaker. In fact, I never really thought he was. What I think happened is that Eric Brickard works here. He's probably working on this Smash stuff, but like a janitor or a random factory worker took out their phone, did a Snapchat video, sent the Snapchat video to like some friends or something, and some of their friends, you know, took screenshots of that Snapchat, then edited out the Eric Brickard name as best they could, or sloppily or whatever, and then put it out online, you know, to get the information out there. So I don't think Eric Brickard is necessarily the leaker. Unfortunately, he may get in a lot of trouble for this, just for having his name on it, but I honestly think the person who leaked it is probably somebody way lower down than the graphic designer, you know, for this Smash material that's coming out of this company, ACP PLV, which, again, we have no confirmation whether or not they're working on Smash, and it's definitely been, if it's been long enough for Ateliers Marina to come out and say something, you'd think ACP PLV would have also issued a statement, but maybe they can't because they are indeed working on it. So ACP PLV may also have ties to Namco and may be working on Smash material. We don't know. If Eric Brickard did have ties to Namco at his old job, Ateliers Marina, it's possible he still does at his new job, ACP-PLV, and that is where the leak is coming from. So Ateliers Marina denying involvement in Smash Ultimate does not kill the leak. That was just Eric Brickard's former employment. And the only interesting thing that we got from that is that they have ties to Namco. We don't know if ACP PLV does or not. I've heard they've worked on like Assassin's Creed stuff, but I have no idea if they work on Smash stuff. They do make promotional material for things. The other thing is obviously there's Grinch material in the image, so I don't know if they're working for, I think it's Illuminations is the studio that's making the Grinch. I don't know. Nobody knows what they're working on right now. ACP PLV, what ACP PLV is working on right now. But it's completely possible they're making material for Smash and the Grinch movie. They have not come out and denied it. Just the first company that was involved with Eric Brickard, which was 2 years ago, and it had nothing to do with this leak really, except you know, figuring out that Eric Brickard works in graphic design and has worked for companies that have worked in gaming. So that's my understanding of all this. If I'm wrong on something, I'm sorry. It's a bit confusing, but that's as best as I've figured all this out. I hope that clears up the denial of involvement from Ateliers Marina, and that is not a nail in the coffin at all, and it's just how we associated Eric Brickard with the Namco company at one point in Eric Brickard's career. Eric Brickard definitely does work at ACP PLV because Nintendo ACTU on Twitter posted that we just called the workplace listed on the supposed leaker's LinkedIn profile and can't confirm he works there. So yeah, he does indeed work for ACP PLV right now. On ACP PLV's website, they do list cinema or video games or something to that effect. You know, on their website, so they do, I guess, work in gaming and promotional material for movies and stuff. Someone else also got some like pictures of their factory, and it does kind of line up with, or it does line up with the leaked images we've seen of this supposed Smash banner leak. So yeah, there's some things in there that point to this being from that company. So people have really looked at the banner, and it looks like it's some sort of like wristband maybe. Other people have said that some of these banner images may be something that like wraps around a like a pole of some kind, or it's like something that a wrap that you hang. It's some sort of wrap material. So people have basically figured that out for exactly what the banner is, at least in this one image. That really raunchy, like, Chad Ganondorf leak that was on 4chan, you know, weeks before this banner leak, Grinch leak, whatever you want to call it, came out. You know, that doesn't have to be the same guy. It doesn't have to be the same leaker. It's actually just really suspicious that that leak had the same 7 characters that this one does. It also lines up with what Tansut was saying, that there's some leak out there that, you know, ruffled some feathers internally. And yeah, it might have been that leak. If that leak had all the characters on it, you know, there you go. So yeah, that's just a lot that I don't think is fakeable, honestly. I don't think you can, you know, fake this person, link it to all this stuff. It's just, it's such a long con that, you know, it's too much. I just think it's way too much to fake all this. So I've said before that because of my source telling me about their source and just insiders seemingly perplexed by this and all that stuff, and how, you know, crazy all that is to have the you know, this Eric Bricker guy linked to it and all, you know, everything that's associated with it. I really don't think anything like scrutinizing the banner itself really does anything, but probably the best thing against it is looking at the background, because there's some differences between the background in the banner and the background that we've seen in the banner for characters we, you know is out. Ray KZ did some really good things, really good like detective work here, looking at, you know, differences between the banner, because this banner moves characters around and stuff. The Leak banner does. So we did a lot of, you know, just looking at places, and there's some really strange things going on. RT Omni also did a really good video on this. There's some strange stuff going on, but I will say that from the leaked you know, images we have, that they have a you know, clean look at the battlefield, Final Destination, whatever it is. They have a clean image of that. This is different than, you know, the background image we've seen of the banner, but it's possible that the reason they have a clean image at this ACP PLV place, and Eric Brickard is the graphic designer working on it, might be so they can change it to fit their stuff, their promotional material. Let's say they were making something like a wristband, something small. Having too much detail in the background might blur the characters too much. It might use too much ink or something. You know, I don't know. I'm throwing stuff out there. But a company like this, a company that is making promotional material, may have, you know, permission to tweak the background when necessary for certain, you know, different material and stuff like that. So it makes perfect sense to me that they might be changing the background. So somebody over on Smashboards came up with this really good idea about the background, you know, discrepancy between the leaked background and the ones that we've seen in you know, the actual official ones that we've seen released. And they basically came up with the idea that you have to think about it kind of backwards. So when Nintendo first makes, you know, this big scroll, this big everyone's here, whatever, banner art, you know, they're starting with all the characters. They know everybody they're going to put in, so they're starting with that. Then they're actually creating banners that don't have certain characters, you know, to show when those characters haven't been released yet. So, you know, you start off with a banner with everybody, and then you take out, you know, a ton of people, and you go down to, you know, a ton of newcomer people, and you go down to just like Ridley, Inkling, Daisy, you know, for like E3 or whatever. And it's possible that when they did that, they had so many holes in the background that they thought, oh man, we need to like put stuff places, because it just looks kind of empty. So then they went back to the, you know, the background and added some stuff, and that added stuff is sat there, but when we get to the final banner, we're going to go back to what they had originally before they added that stuff in, to make it not look so scarce without the full roster. I thought that was a really smart idea for why this might be like this. I just think there's a lot of reasons why you know, this might be happening. I think the fact that in the image that we've seen, this leaked image, we've seen that they have the clean background, means that this company you know, has the ability to tweak that background, has, you know, if they're making promotional material for Smash, you know, benefit of the doubt, let's say that they're making promotional material for Smash, it appears from what we've seen that they do have the clean background. And the reason for that, probably so they can tweak it for whatever reason. Again, to make promotional material, they may need to tweak it to make things not blurry at different sizes or something to that extent. I think there's enough plausible deniability here that just because the background doesn't quite, you know, match with what we've seen, I don't think it goes against the leak strong enough. So, like I said, I'm just kind of looking on my computer and jumping around here. Another insider that said something about this leak was Sarah B. posted over on Smashboard. So I'm just going to read what he said. He said, "Not that I commented on the rumor. I didn't really, but people construed it. However, I do think you misunderstand things with people with inside information. Yeah, there's a lot of people who say blank for clout when they're wrong so often, like Marcus Sellers, or for clout and to have a holier-than-thou attitude despite not a spotless record like Liam Robertson and LKD. However, most people with insider information don't post to do the near, I know more than you thing. In fact, they use insider information to prepare or to just know things. They don't share it because it risks their own job position and the job position of any contacts." So on that note, yeah, a smaller channel like mine or Billy Bo 10K, you know, we can be a little more open if a insider comes to us, if somebody, you know, somebody comes to us and tells us something, because I have no position with any job. I'm just making this channel for fun. So on that note, my source that came to me, you know, I believe part of the reason they came to me was just to get the information out here. They didn't want to come out themselves and say it for whatever reason, but I think they wanted the information known because the banner was looking more and more real to them, and they had, you know, a little bit more information. They have a Microsoft source that had heard all these and knew for sure about Banjo. So yeah, I just want to make that clear that, you know, insiders act certain ways just because of that. They're not you know, trying to hide things from people. They're not like I hold no ill will against anybody. Like somebody was messaging me on like Twitter and was like, oh, Vergeben attacked you or something, and I couldn't find any posts where he did. I found a post where he was just kind of defending that he still thinks Incineroar is in the game, or he still thinks whatever he's heard is what's happening. And I don't know if people took that as, you know, I'm on the Grinch Leak side and he's not, so, you know, blah. But seriously, guys, like, we're trying to figure out what's going on here. Don't be so tough on people, you know, leaking or insiders or what they said or how, you know, it's got to be this concrete thing. And I know people who still think, like, the Gamatsu leak is, like, fake. Like, oh, that's fake just because it didn't happen. It's like, no, that was real information. It was just, you know, old information, so things changed. Something strange might be going on with this. It seems like something strange is going on with this. So I'm trying to figure it all out, and I'm trying to give you as much information as I can. So yeah, just, you know, on the subject of all this, be nice to these people. Try and you know, understand what's going on here, and let's all work together to figure out what the real roster is, and not just get all mad at each other, you know, for what characters are you know, potentially in, or whatever's going on here. So then Cerebi, somebody messaged him and said, people are discrediting you because you don't believe the banner leak is true. And then Cerebi responded with, ah, and then posted a picture of Emperor Palpatine, and it just says, ironic. So I don't know if that means ironic, like, because the banner leak's not true, or ironic because Cerebi does believe the banner leak. I don't know. Cerebi usually has Pokemon inside information, so I don't know if he's heard about Incineroar or not. He really hasn't said anything. Once again, disjointed video just popped in my head. So some people have said that the thumbnail on my first banner still shows characters, something like that. That's a YouTube glitch, not me. I switched it. I took it off as soon as it started becoming very real to me because, you know, a source came to me and stuff. I said this in the last video about that. You know, I took those characters off. I changed the thumbnail, so if it's still appearing with characters on it, it's just a YouTube glitch. I don't know what to do about that. So I still stand by what I said in my last video about, you know, putting the characters in the thumbnail. I didn't think it was a bad thing to do when I first did it. I'm now taking it out because I'm, you know, really kind of believing this leak, and I don't want to spoil things for people. When I first did it, I thought it would just meld in with the rest of all these other leaks, and that we'd be back and forth on it and everything. It really only becomes a problem once the leak becomes very, very real looking, because none of my old videos are being complained about for having, you know, characters in the thumbnail. So on that note, so I put it out really, really early. It was like 7:30 a.m. or something like that. But I just want to give a shout out to Slackers Gaming. I think that's the channel. I believe they were the first people on YouTube to do anything on the Grinch leak, the banner leak, whatever you want to call it. Their video precedes mine by like 3 hours, and I thought my video was like one of the first ones up, or the first one up on it. But yeah, Slackers Gaming, I believe they were the first people to put this up on YouTube, so props to them for that. Just a couple newer things that have come out kind of involved in all this. Somebody showed me like an image of it's the chorus men and the conductor or whatever, and, you know, like, it looks just like the image from the banner. That was made after the banner. That was, someone made that off of the banner to show what they looked like. So that one just, you know, if that's being spread around, it's nothing. Someone made it afterwards. Another thing that's come out is, this is really interesting, there was like this Wendy's, I think it's Wendy's related for some reason. Wendy's was tweeting a bunch about Smash after this too. There was like a Wendy's video about Smash, about like a Smash like bus tour thing or something. And I believe it was in that video, there was a item that was shown, and it looks like it's like a little sprout in like a bubble, and people have linked that back to growth from Golden Sun, like the sprouts that you can turn to like a vine and climb up them. So, I mean, it could be from that, could be from something else. I don't know. Makes sense to me, though. They did hold off showing items, you know, they held off showing some items until the August Direct, like the Scythe or whatever from, that's from Castlevania, right? Like, so they held off items for characters that weren't shown yet, obviously. So holding off a Golden Sun item like that would make sense to me. It's also possible This item, I wrote some things down here. It could work like a ladder, because there's like new ladder mechanics, I think, in this game. So if it grows a vine, you could climb up it. That would make sense to have an item like this. It doesn't have any kind of like piranha plant head thing from like Mario, so I'm guessing it isn't from Mario. It could just be a generic sprout. I don't know if it's from Golden Sun or not, but it does kind of back up the leak a bit, because Isaac's in the leak, you know? The bubble could have it changed to different, like, psi energy things or whatever. So maybe it does a bunch of stuff. That would be a pretty complex item. I don't know if that's the case, or if it's just they just put a bubble around it because, you know, this game's going to be portable, so you have to be able to see things, and a thin little plant thing would be hard to see. Yeah, so that was just some interesting stuff on that. I don't know what to think of that. It could be for Golden Sun, it could not be for Golden Sun. I don't know, but it certainly doesn't hurt the leak. It potentially helps the leak. Another thing from, I think it's the same video, we can see like the Smash Ultimate beginning screen, and it looks like the copyright information has been resized, so that would point to more, you know, companies coming in, or they changed it for some reason. They added something or changed it, you know, for whatever. So that would make sense, because we'd need like Camelot for Golden Sun, and you know, Microsoft Rare for Banjo-Kazooie and stuff. And then other people have said, like, I guess people got a hold of the Smash bundle, the one that comes with a download code for Smash Ultimate. It's releasing November 2nd, and they've said like, oh man, the copyright on the box is, you know, it's the same as we've seen, so there's no more companies. I don't think so. I mean, that box was always supposed, or that bundle was always supposed to come out November 2nd, and I don't think they would have deconfirmed, you know, who's in and who's out and stuff a full month, you know, and I don't think we're going to get a direct before November 2nd at this point. And, you know, deconfirm, you know, characters through just having the box. I don't think you need it on the box. The box is just for the Switch. It's not the game box. It's just for the Switch that you can get the game on. So the copyrights on the box are probably, you know, I feel like it's okay to just have the copyrights that are known right now. I don't think that one discredits it either. Again, I'm kind of past, like, trying to discredit this leak as someone just faked it. I don't think that's at all what's happening here. It's something strange. Either it is real, just it's totally real, or it's you know, like a Gametsu situation where there's something else going on here. The only things I can really think of is, you know, characters people have heard are being held for DLC, or characters are, you know, leak bait. Characters were things to try to trick people trying to leak the game. I don't think having printed material would, like, I don't think Nintendo would go to that length with characters. Like, if they told people Incineroar, and Incineroar is not in the game, it makes a lot more sense to me than, okay, let's hire this company to make fake banners, and we'll hire a couple different companies to make fake banners and stuff, and fake material, and we'll have it all floating around before we actually show what's happening, and we'll, you know, hire an artist to make these. It just, I don't think that's what's going on at all here. There's too much going on in favor of this one. So I'm just going to read this post I made just about the credibility and reliability of my source and all that. My source came to me with this info, and I trust their credibility because of who they are. Can't give out info too much, but I'll say they approached me. I'd never spoken to them before. They have credentials / it's who they are that makes them trustable. Basically, if I told you, I assume most would probably be on board with trusting them too. I have some power here, as they trusted me not to just out who they are, which of course I could have always done. I absolutely will not do that. I'm just pointing out that they put themselves on the line by giving me the info at all. I always had the ability to just say, you know, who told me, and, you know, have, you know, the reason why who it is makes it credible, etc., etc. Just out in the public info. They had to trust me, so, you know, there you go. That's some power in my hands. They had something to lose here too. Also, I was approached a while back by a different source about the Spirits Act Like Stickers thing. I did a video on that. And that source told me something that is not public knowledge. Not anything to do with the Smash game in particular. This new source also mentioned this same thing to me, and they had no idea I already knew about it, so I really doubt that they're just like lying to me, considering that consistency between these two sources coming to me. I'm sorry that's really vague, but I can't say more than that, but it's another piece here that makes me believe and trust them. Though I would trust them based solely on who they are anyway. It's just another piece. They're absolutely not the same person, like someone pretending to be or something, as that first source. That's an impossibility. I can't explain why exactly, but that's just impossible. They're definitely different people. Just figured I'd get that out of the way. I have seen no proof from them of anything in the game, and it's my source who has a Microsoft source. So again, there's a chain here. I haven't actually seen anything myself. I just trust my source. They trust their Microsoft source. Yeah, I haven't like seen anything beyond the banner and stuff that's, you know, everybody's talking about. My source and the Microsoft source believe the banner leak, but are confused why Incineroar isn't there. So something might be going on, but because they had already heard these banner characters, and the Microsoft source was sure of Banjo before all of this, they are believing this is real. Again, I'd say, at the very least, this is not a typical fake leak. Something is indeed going on here. So that's what I was saying before. I definitely think something is happening here. I can't like, and this is not me backpedaling. This has always been my stance. I can't say, definitely the banner's for real. I just think there's way more going for it, and with my source and their source thinking it's real, it's probably real. The only way it's not real is if it's somehow like it is leak bait. I don't think it's faked by someone. I think that's not what's happening here at all. And other insiders too. Other insiders are talking about this one, and even if they're saying like, you know, maybe they heard somebody else or it doesn't quite line up with what I heard, yeah, I think Nintendo might have been sending a lot of leak bait out to try to catch leakers or just to confuse everybody. But, you know, this is printed material we seem to have seen here. So I'm thinking this is it. So I also think it's really important to take like a step back from this whole leak and just kind of look at this without the, you know, even myself. Like I'm trying to look at it without the evidence from my source, evidence from insiders, you know, step back from it, from the evidence from the leak itself, like the Eric Brickard, you know, leaking back to it and everything like that, and just look at the characters that are on it. I think that's really important. The unique character choices specifically, I feel like they're very much so Sakurai choices. I feel like this one, you know, I've looked at other leaks, and I always take the leak, and I think about the characters, and I fit it into like a roster and stuff. And I think this one fits into a 13x6 perfect roster thing. I think that's true. But with the random button. But anyway, you know, I always try to take the characters and think about, like, you know, if that's the final roster, like, you know, what does that mean? What does that look like? And where do we go from there and stuff like that? And this one just seems, there's a lot going for it, actually, when you look at these characters. It actually makes a lot of sense. We have 3 huge Smash Ballot fan choice characters, all of which could have interesting mechanics. That's Isaac, Banjo-Kazooie, and Geno. Those are all potentially Smash Ballot picks. We did have a Smash Ballot. It would make sense to get big fan favorite characters this time around. We got K-Rool, we got Ridley. I know we would like to keep our expectations low and, you know, hype responsibly and everything, and I'm all for that. Definitely hype responsibly. Try not to get too excited about all this, because anything can happen. But these characters do make sense after the Smash Ballot. Also, again, interesting movesets. It appears Isaac, you know, has like something going on with like the ground underneath him, and that just feels like something Sakurai would do with that character, something interesting. It appears he's like growing vines or something. If he does grow vines, again, that item that appears to be a sprout that could turn into a vine, and the fact that we have like ladder mechanics, maybe he did something interesting with like ladder mechanics with Isaac. I don't know, just speculating, but it feels like a cool Sakurai thing, and that's something that's in this banner. There's also the 2 other characters, Mach Rider and the Chorus Men. Sakurai has expressed wanting to put both those characters in, Mach Rider in Melee and Chorus Men in Smash 4. From the Gametsu leak, we know that. And they could have really interesting mechanics. Maybe Sakurai couldn't put Chorus Men in because, like, now that we can see the conductor, maybe the conductor's in the back, Chorus Men are up front, kind of like Pokemon Trainer, and maybe he couldn't do that because he couldn't implement Pokemon Trainer. You know, maybe that's why they were cut. That makes sense. Mach Rider, didn't want to put in Melee, I think, because of the bike, but, you know, I did a whole video on Mach Rider, and yeah, there's a lot of things going for that. Also, Mach Rider fits with the robot figure and the gun. That's what I was saying in my video like months and months ago, and it does fit with that. Isaac fits with the Rathalos image. The Chorus Kids fits with DK, you know, being in like the Karate Joe position watching the TV that looked like Karate Joe's TV. There's just a lot of things that when you step back and just look at, you know, what's going on here, feels like something Sakurai is going to do, feels like there's actually evidence towards these characters. If this is faked, I feel like the person who faked it really thought about which characters they're going to put in, beyond also faking this whole thing, linking back to this person, linking back to this company. Like, you know, it's just so much here, people. It's so much. You know, I don't know, again, if it's maybe a Gametsu situation, so maybe there's something off about all this, but it really feels like something here. Also then, Ken and Shadow, just extremely likely Echo characters. I don't have a whole lot to say about them. Ken, we have the image leak for. Shadow, pretty much everybody thought Shadow was pretty likely. Oh, one thing for Shadow, actually, didn't John from Game Explain was like talking about Shadow, and people were saying maybe he actually has insider information because he was like, I forget what he said, but he said some stuff that was like unguessable stuff. I think he said maybe something about the Kirby's Epic Yarn being like ported or something like that was his prediction. Like, he did it as like a prediction, but it seemed more like a leak after we actually saw it. So yeah, John from Game Explain was talking about Shadow, so there you go, Shadow's right there. So yeah, I think that's everything I wanted to say on this. Again, I'm just kind of looking at my computer, looking at posts I've made over the last couple, you know, couple days, last like day, I guess, and just, you know, trying to remember all the important images I saved, all the important stuff I saved, and trying to give my 2 cents about it for you guys. But I did just kind of film it and talk, and hopefully it's not super disjointed or super long-winded. I feel like this has been a while, though. So yeah, I'm pretty on board with this leak. I do think it's real. I think my source is credible. My source believes their Microsoft source is credible and is saying, you know, thinks this banner is probably real, except for whatever's going on with Incineroar. So, you know, other insiders are saying something strange is up with this. Maybe they've heard another character. It could be DLC. That could be that characters were leak bait trying to catch people. You know, I don't know, but I'm trying to get the information out to you guys, out to the Smash community, so we can all figure this out. That's where I'm going with this, and I'm letting you guys know where I'm at with it because I believe my source is credible. And because of, you know, the further stuff they're telling me that they had already heard about Banjo and that the person who had told them about Banjo knew about all these other characters and stuff, I'm thinking this is very, very likely to be real. So that's where I'm at, but, you know, anything can happen here. Something strange is going on, definitely. But I'm pretty much believing the leak. I don't know what you guys think about it. I don't know if there's something I didn't cover, maybe something I missed. You know, I'm looking over all this stuff, and I think I said everything I wanted. But yeah, so I'm going to keep following this, try to keep up to date with it. If anything else comes out, you know, I'll make another video and put it out there for you guys. But yeah, this one's really interesting. This might be it, guys. I don't know what else to say about this. The characters are amazing. I'd love this to be the, you know, the final roster. It's really, really good. Yeah, so hopefully this is what we get. Just to end this video off, I just want to do a shout out to @Rukio1000Alex over on Twitter. He messaged me and showed me his Deviantart page, and it has some really cool renders of you know, the Smash Ultimate characters. He did like cool recolors and stuff, like alternate costume stuff. They're really cool looking, so I'm going to put a link to his Deviantart page in the description of this video. Also in the description, I have my Discord, my Twitter, my Patreon account, stuff like that. I've all linked that to this channel, so it's in the About section here. If you want to talk to me about any of this stuff, Discord or Twitter, on both, come talk to me about any of this. So once again, thank you guys for all the subscribes, all the likes. It really helps out the channel. So if you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and do so, or like the video, or leave a comment, whatever you want. Until next time, have a good one.